In the camera, I don't think it looks like I have short hair. I think it looks like it's just
Do
kind
a
of
little
pulled
head
back.
shake.
I don't think you can see it.
Welcome to the Know His Love podcast. I'm Father Michael.
And I'm Molly.
Hi, Molly.
Hello.
What's up?
Not much. How you doing?
I'm good.
I'm very tired.
I think we're less sick than last time.
Yeah,
so
and
that's
it's
a
only been
positive.
like 2 days, but it's still, the coughing is, I'm not coughing too much anymore.
I'm coughing a lot, but
Not as much, though. I
Yeah.
feel like you're coughing less.
it just goes in waves.
It comes and goes in waves.
Mm-hmm.
You know that song? Probably not.
No.
It's a good song. I'll send it to you. I actually think
Okay.
you'd like it. I got it. Now I know after watching this week's episode, I can't do this the entire time.
I can't do
we
this
both
the
were
entire
like,
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Just
we'll
gonna
see
sit still.
we'll see if I fit
And by
it.
this we mean twitching our feet.
Yeah.
For those who are not watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget about that now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I mean, here we are.
Here we are. Is it a brand new year?
No.
But it's gonna be.
It is almost a brand new
Yes.
year. It is not, in fact, 2023 yet.
But we're on the verge.
But we're close. So today for us is the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
My husband texted me. And we have our phones out and at the ready because we thought we would reflect on this year.
Mm-hmm.
As this will come out in January. But yes. So we're gonna do that, I suppose. Huh?
Yeah. 2022 was a big year.
It was
in
a
a
big
lot
year.
of ways.
And I kind of thought about this because it's not just because, like, oh, year in review,
Mm-hmm.
but this year in particular was a big one for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of highs, lots of lows.
Lots of changes.
Lots of changes, I think, is the big thing.
Yeah.
So we just kind of wanted to go through our year and maybe just, like, tell funny stories, like, of funny things we did together or whatever, but also talk about, like, what we've both learned this year through, like, changes and just kind of what God taught us this year, I guess. Super casual. This is going to be more just, like, conversational.
It is the casual season of the podcast.
It is.
Where it's
Yeah, we have the Christmas one before this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So January 1st. Just kidding. Well, I mean,
it'll come out January 2nd, so it'll be right? I think so.
Okay. So what would you say the biggest thing that happened to you this year was?
Wow.
You had some big stuff. I'm like trying to think of the answer for you.
I would think the biggest stuff overall has been changes in my ministry.
Yes.
And dealing with that.
Big changes.
Yeah, so at the end of the spring, with the end of the school year, I stopped being the chaplain at our high school and became what we call the pastoral administrator of the high school, which is still a job that I can't define that well, and I'm figuring out.
He's basically the boss.
Yeah, but I'm not in a day-to-day way, and that's what's weird.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, some decisions are yours.
Yeah. But I'm not like running the school Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more like if anything big comes up, he gets a call.
Yeah, so I think the bigger aspect of that is figuring out how I'm supposed to be a priest in that. Like being a chaplain, I had done for 7 years at that point, and
yeah, I always forget how long it was.
Yeah, or it was 7 years there and 4 years before that at a different place. So like a lot of chaplaining.
Whole priesthood thus
it has been, yeah. So like suddenly I was out of that sort of ministry, even though I'm still doing some of it. Like went on Kairos, and I still go to things because I like it.
Yes, and your friends are running it now.
Yeah.
So like I'm still there. It's not like and the priest who's there now is Father Josh.
Yeah. So very much tied into it, but like it's still a really big change for me because I don't quite know how I'm supposed to live out this new role.
Yeah.
Not just like I'm not a good administrator in terms of like I'm not good with finances.
Okay,
like
I was like, I think you're doing great at this job as someone who works under you.
That's good.
But I get what you mean. Like maybe the more technical stuff of administrator life isn't like your vibe. Typically.
And I'm not comfortable with it. Yeah. And so like I'm still. That's I think been the biggest change is like figuring out how I should live as a priest, doing that, and really like it's not just like changing jobs. It's like I'm still called to like help the students and the school in general
Yes.
be closer to God.
Yeah.
And so what does that look like in this new role? So that's been probably the biggest change for me.
Yeah. It's an interesting way for you to word it because it's not just like it's an added element when you're a priest because everything you do and get moved into, it's not just how do I do this job? Because
Yeah.
it is a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's how do I do it like as a priest? And how
Yeah.
do I, yeah, like it's not just how do I da 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 da.
Yeah.
And
Just
then,
like,
yeah, you,
complete these tasks or
right,
whatever.
your ministry, it's part of your ministry. So how do I incorporate my priesthood into this?
Yeah.
Not
And
my priesthood.
oh yeah.
I have no priesthood.
You have the priesthood of the faithful. You have the universal priesthood.
Dang it, you're right. I
Mm-hmm.
forgot.
Don't forget.
I am a priest forever.
So that's where to be honest, I don't like it that much.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of still what I need to figure out.
Yeah, you've had a
Mm,
lot of tough because naturally in a position like that, all the crap of whatever anybody's runs
yeah.
happens. It goes to the person who at up top. So you're
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily like getting the joy of the day-to-day interaction with the students. You're getting the crap that does need to be dealt with, right?
Yes.
It's not
Yeah.
like anyone's doing anything wrong, but you're getting the
Yeah.
hardest stuff.
The other last night we were hanging out and Zach was there and you showed a video from Snapchat that you found of I think it's just us in our office and I don't
Yeah.
even remember what it was about, but I was just like, oh, I was really happy then.
Oh, no.
Um,
I know he actually said that. I was like, "You look so different." He was like, "I was happy then." I was like,
yeah, and
"Ah!"
I think it's more in terms of just like I felt like I knew how to be chaplain, so now I
Yeah.
have to figure out how to be the administrator.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's doing great so far, guys.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Nothing happened to you this year.
No, it did not. Yeah, it's almost like a silly question. Yes, I got married. That was the biggest thing that happened to me. But obviously, I talk about how amazing it is, and it is. It's a huge change in life.
Mm.
There are so many, especially if you're a Christian, because there's a lot of like in the world. Kind of sometimes I literally went to a wedding a little while ago that wasn't a Catholic wedding or someone they weren't really religious
Mm-hmm.
even. And I was like, "Do you feel different?" And they're like, "No, literally, like, cause part of what we believe is waiting to live together, waiting to
Yeah.
have sex to be married, all of these things." But then when you're like, a lot of times people who get married and religion isn't a part of their lives, it's just like nothing really changes other than you sign a document and maybe you change your last
Mm-hmm.
name. But when you're a Christian, it's like you're a lot about your life. I've never lived with a boy before. Besides my brother, I've never shared a bed before. I've never like it's so much change at once. And even just like so I got engaged in January, so this entire past year has been like surrounding like my
yeah.
marriage, which is great, even like in preparing for it. But yeah, just a big change. A
That's
lot of change in 1 year.
it's really I guess I didn't think about it that way. It felt like you were engaged for a long time,
Yeah, I was engaged for
but it
8
just
months.
yeah, it was like this year was
Yeah.
like that whole period, and
And now I've been married for 3 months.
yeah, so it was really like the whole year.
Yeah. Was either preparing for my wedding, having my wedding, or like adjusting to newly wed
Yeah,
life. So yeah, just a lot of change. I have a whole new last name.
you're still into it.
Yeah, it's just hard to you read it and it's just not like McManus. If you say McManus, people typically spell that right. They sometimes wouldn't, but if I said Stevie to you, no one is ever going to guess that it is spelled the way that it
No,
is.
you're stuck with that for
I
life.
am, and it's already like on some of my Christmas gifts I got from like families at work. No one spelled it right. Why is there a U in there? I don't
There's no
know.
reason. Yeah,
But definitely a big year, but
yeah,
beautiful year.
absolutely.
A lot of just like you know merging my independent self with like another person, but that's so good for me. I used to say I see I don't know if I've talked about this on here. I seriously discerned religious life for a while. I even applied and was accepted to an order and almost did that instead of college.
Hmm.
That's a fun little thing I like forget about myself.
That
um
phase.
yeah, I'm so young,
Yeah.
but yeah, sometimes like in college I'd be like I just want to join religious life. And I want to preface, I am not saying it's an easier vocation. It's probably harder. I've never experienced it, but I think for me, it would have, in a certain sense, been the easy way out because I wanted to have a sense of independence, even though you're living in community. And I just like didn't get that. Whatever. It was
Yeah.
partially immaturity, but my point being like I didn't want to intertwine my life with another person, and I felt like I'd lose part of myself.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to be able to like, it's my prayer life, it's my relationship with the Lord. I'm going to bed alone in my room, and even if I'm living in community, like at the end of the day, it's my life. So it was like this possessiveness of like myself in a weird way.
Yeah.
But I'm just like pretty independent.
Mhm.
Um, but so getting married is honestly like the best thing for me. I don't hate it. I love it. But like there's aspects of that loss of independence that are like challenge my holiness, cuz really like it was like selfishness ultimately that made me want that kind of just like myself to myself. And like I have to when I make plans now, it's usually for both of us. Like our friends are like intertwined. I don't usually hang out with a friend alone. That sounds weird. Just circumstantially.
Mhm.
Like we share friends, and so oftentimes we'll go places together and stuff. So it's like whereas before I could just be like and I would do this. Yeah, I'll go on a trip tomorrow for a couple days, or like, oh yeah, I'll go do that thing, or like just stop by a friend's house. Like but now it's like not every single decision, but I have to like or I could just go buy something irresponsibly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did during COVID. I really did. I was Amazon
You're
crazy.
out of that time.
Yeah, I am. That was a dark time. That was so bad. But yeah, like just basically the point being the decisions I make affect someone else now, and I have to like run them by someone. Like that's a little way. And things like that challenge me because it helps me this is a small example, helps me to be more responsible. Like if I want to go buy something completely unnecessary that's really expensive,
Mhm.
I can't just like do that. And so maybe I won't do that then
It's
because
good.
it kind of controls my like impulse to just I'm an online shopper. I'll just hit the button so easily. Um
Just having to consider somebody else.
yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. I feel like watching it happen with you guys, I think it's, like, obviously good for you, for both of
Oh
you,
yeah.
and I think maybe that's not thought about enough going into marriage, that it's a place for holiness. It's a place,
Yeah.
like, that you get to be more and more yourself.
Yes. And I've had that experience. Like all the things I was afraid of have been like great moments of like tangible grace for me. And that's one of them. Like and I'm this kind of shows how spoiled I was in a certain sense. I come from a very small family. It's just my brother, and so I never had a sister, and I only had one sibling. I only shared a room from the only times in my life I've ever shared a room were my freshman year of college and my sophomore year of college. And
Wow.
my junior and senior year, I lived with other people, but I had my own room.
Mhm.
And then for the 3 years, for 4 years in between college and getting married, I had my own room. I'm very introverted. I did not want to share a room.
It's a huge change.
The running joke was like, and it's I still think it's kind of a good idea, is to have bunk beds.
A bunk bed.
Yes, a bunk bed, and the bottom one could be one we could share sometimes, but I could just go up to the top bunk. So those were the types of things I was like nervous about. I was excited to live with Zach,
Mhm.
but I wasn't excited to live with someone.
Yeah.
I hope that difference makes sense. But that it's been something I have loved, and I just like did not expect that. And it challenges me sometimes for sure. Because you also like when you're arguing, we live in a, very small 1 bedroom apartment.
Mhm.
There's not really many places to like run away. And I'm a runner when I'm
Yeah.
arguing. I like get very overwhelmed easily, and I'll just but I can't really like book it.
Yeah.
And it's
You go
good.
hide in the closet or
Yeah,
something.
I tried that one
Uh-huh.
time. But it's really good for me, um, to be like not forced. I chose it for a reason, but in the moments when I don't want to have that closeness, to be kind of forced into it,
Yeah.
because of the vow that I took. It's just been really transformative. And a really cool thing has been I've loved it more than I expected. Like I was prepared for that to like I'm excited to get married. This might be the challenging area, but it's been one of the things I've loved the most, like having someone to come home to. I
Mhm.
didn't ever really think I would care too much about that, but
Yeah.
like I I don't like now he like went on a retreat for work, and I was alone for like a couple days, and I hated it. And I'm like, what is happening to me? But yeah, having to consider someone is beautiful because it's just made me so much less selfish. And I don't think I was necessarily this like selfish person, but we can always grow in selflessness. Um, and I have become, I think, a lot more selfless just because it's not just about me. I am like the main point of my life, second to getting myself to heaven, is to get this other person to heaven. And there's a lot of dying to self I need to do that, to
Yeah.
like love and serve and sacrifice. And all of those things, loving and serving, sacrificing, make me more like Jesus. So it's like, it's beautiful. Like it's truly, I like am becoming holier because of it.
You probably don't know how selfless you can be, and this is going to push you
Yeah.
to grow in that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, lots of change. I mean, we just kind of jumped right in there,
Huge
but
change, yeah.
but beautiful, and really good. And it's been awesome to see like the things I was scared of have been such a big blessing. Because people say like when you're single, I was never really dying to get married, as we know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of women just it just wasn't something I experienced like that. Like, oh, I can't wait, um, until I met Zach or got together with Zach. But yeah, a lot of people, I kind of just was like one of those people who's like, I'm going to value my independence while I have it because once I get married, it's gone. I'm like much more free being married. And Zach and I talk about that a lot, like how actually committing to something is what really like makes you free. Like you're free to love without reservation because you know what you're like. I'm not afraid this person's going to leave me, I'm not held back by the shortness of, or like this relationship having an end in sight, or like held back by what if I fall in love with someone else or anything. Like now I am free to like really love in a way that I
Yeah.
couldn't
Yeah.
without the commitment that can be seen as like uh getting rid of freedom. And I don't feel like constrained. It's probably because I married the right person for me,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool seeing how I've journeyed through that. How something that I didn't, there was a time I really didn't think I wanted to get married. How it's like I'm so grateful, and I love being married. I love Zach so much, and I love living with him and being with him all the time, and it's really great. So that's been cool to see that in myself, and to like tangibly see that growth of like, oh, look how far God has brought me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. How was your wedding?
That wedding was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your homily was great. You gotta watch it still.
I'll get there.
um, I'm dying. I just found this picture. I'm like looking through my camera roll about things. Do you remember that? The meadery? Was that
Oh,
the
yeah. Was that your birthday? Or
Kevin's, I
Kevin's
think.
birthday? Yeah.
Yeah. So funny. That was a year ago. But yeah, another kind of big thing, not kind of big
It
thing
was a
for
big
you.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So what strikes me about your year, I'll speak for you, is there's a lot of like changes in your ministry, like you said. And one of those kind of was like, it seems like the diocese was going to merge with Diocese of Columbus for a
Yeah.
while. It was like, that was very much on the table, probably happening. It's kind of on pause now, but that was an extremely difficult time for like all the priests that I know.
That was our October.
Traumatizing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like? What did you learn in that? What was that like for you? As something also that like, it's not like you become a priest and then you experience it. You've been a priest for a while. Like, generally speaking, like I think everyone kind of has this idea of like you become a priest and you sign your life away.
Yeah.
You definitely give some serious things up, but like you became a priest of the Diocese of Steubenville,
Yeah.
like so you knew the bounds of where you could be located at least, and yeah, you could get moved to a different parish tomorrow, but you're not going to be
Yeah.
so. And you're used to that for the 11
Yeah.
years that you've been a priest, and then so yeah,
Because like you
I'll let
married
you take it over.
Zach,
Right?
and like that's the guy. Like
Yeah, yeah,
regardless of where you live,
yeah.
and anything else that happens at jobs and kids and
It's
anything,
that stays the same.
that's the one you're married to. And so yeah, when you discern to be a diocesan priest, and I think especially for me, it was very much felt called to serve and to be a priest here in
Yeah.
this
Where
diocese.
your home is.
Yeah, in my home, and so suddenly a couple months ago, it was on the table. Maybe not. Maybe the diocese that you belong to will be a lot bigger and involve different places, and I could be moved to parishes that weren't part of that home and
Yeah.
part of that idea, that identity. It was really hard. Just
That month sucked.
it was a bad month. It was energizing in the sense of like uh feeling united with a lot of my brother priests, of
Mhm.
just like, no, we're committed, we want to do this, even with every challenge that our diocese
Like fighting
faces.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think just the fact that, like, yeah, we know there's not enough priests here, population is maybe shrinking, just a lot of different things, but like we want to be priests here,
Yeah.
and we didn't just sign up generically, send me anywhere. Like, no, I felt called to be priest here. So on one hand, it was really hard, and still is kind of hard, of just like that fundamental thing could be changed,
Mhm.
um and I would have no power
Yeah.
over that. Like, that continues to be really hard. um but there was a lot of grace in that unity, and kind of just like, um you know, it's powerful to have something, a cause to fight for. And I felt like that's really what came out of us. And like you said,
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
on it's on pause right now. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen, and um so that's still very strange. But just seeing how God worked even in that, like, craziness, and it really was crazy
Yeah.
for a while, and just the thing of writing letters and visiting other bishops, and
Oh
all these
man.
things, and it was a lot. And yeah, I think we've gone like a month now where it's like been sort of up in the air, and nothing's happening, but it's hard to believe that was this year. uh
Yeah.
that just happened, and don't know what's going to happen next.
So what about God in that?
Yeah,
I know it's tough.
it is.
It's a
And
tough one.
it was tough because it shook and shakes my faith,
Mm.
in the sense of, like, my identity is tied up in the priesthood, and my priesthood is tied up in the Diocese of Steubenville.
Yeah.
And for that to be in doubt and
Not
not
guaranteed. Yeah.
guaranteed is really scary. And it definitely, like, it uh I don't think I was ever mad at God in it. I was mad at other people. But I think but like, it just that sort of like, well, what does my priesthood
Yeah.
mean?
Oh
If
yeah.
it can be uh kind of like change that radically from what I felt like this is what God wanted me to do. It wasn't like I decided I wanted to be a priest because of no reason. Like, I felt called, and all that's tied together. So, like, I definitely felt like I sought after God in a different way in it, um, trying to trust in a time where a lot of things were just up in the air, and maybe still are. Like, that was maybe the most challenging thing, is trying to learn to trust in that,
Yeah.
and be, yeah, and just look to God in that same way when, yeah, when things are really bad. And I like, people experience this through sickness and death and changes in life. Like, it's not just us that experience that, but
Right.
that was a big one for me that I'd never anticipated experiencing.
Yeah. Because it's not like when you get married, it's like, not to be morbid, but Zachariah could die at any point,
Yeah.
and like you'll die one day, but like you didn't ever expect like the loss of your spouse,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's what it felt like in a
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Um but it was beautiful to see as someone close to the situation or the people in the situation.
Mhm.
It was beautiful to see like the camaraderie that came from it amongst
Yeah.
all of you. Not that it's like God wants this horrible thing to happen, so because that's not how
Mhm.
God works. But He did bring that good out of it for sure,
Yeah.
and I think a closeness between all of you, being united under one cause, and it was awesome to watch.
Mhm.
Honestly, um, Like the way you were there for each other.
Yeah, and the other half of that is how the people of the diocese and our parishes saw that.
Yeah.
That it was really encouraging for them to see the priest, like, what they saw is fight for them.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I felt it.
that
Can confirm.
good, yeah, and that was really great to hear, and to hear that after the fact, and I don't know what's gonna happen. I have doubts.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I
Yeah.
don't know what the best thing to happen is, but whatever it is, like, it was worth. Um, I felt like what a lot of us priests did. And I feel like what my part in it was worthwhile,
Mhm.
and God was in it, no matter what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Mm. Scroll over.
looking at something that happened here that I forgot happened this year was that we moved the tabernacle in our church to the
That
center.
was this year?
That was earlier this year. Yeah,
Oh, that was great that you did that.
and it's just that's it's in the bigger picture like a minor thing, but it was such a satisfying feeling to enact something where, like, I feel this is right. This will
Mhm.
make a difference in our parishes, and to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you looking at the concert pictures now? Why are you
That is
laughing?
just the us scrolling through pictures to see what happened this
Yeah,
year.
I know. I had a really good year.
Oh yeah,
My niece was born, which was very special. Um,
that's right.
I know that little girl. Um,
My
I,
nephew was born.
dang it, you win. Just kidding. I did a lot of new stuff with music this year, which was fun. I traveled a lot more than I ever
Yeah.
have before. Um, and yeah, that was really cool to just like, that was always like a dream that I was like, I, I'm a realist. So I was like, that will never happen. Like, and not like a depressing way. I was just like, not a lot of people get to do something like this for work. So, and the opportunity just popped up, you
It's
know,
become like your actual, like, part
part of
time,
my
but like
job.
part
Yeah.
of your job. Yeah.
Which is really cool. And like, I don't think I love like looking back on things because I don't, when you're doing something every day, like if you're married, you might not think about all the times that you were lonely and like wanted to be married because then you get used to like we just get used to our blessings too much, and it's good to like
Hmm.
it's not like don't get settled, but like we need to remind ourselves of what we have to be grateful for. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, so that was like just a passing dream for a while, and now I'm like, oh, whatever, I do this for work, but it's like, oh God, like really like gave me the chance to like unite something that I very much love with like serving him, which is so beautiful.
You do
Um
it quite a bit.
yeah, I
That's
do
really
need a
awesome.
break.
Yeah.
I've done it a lot in the past several weeks, past couple months. Really, I got married and I was like gone a ton, which
Yeah.
is hilarious. Um excuse me. But yeah, just being grateful even when I get really tired, and like there was that one trip I went to two places in a row, and
Is
it
that
was
when you
really
got
three
sick
because it
too?
was Kairos. I went to Maryland, and I went to New York, and they were awesome gigs. But I got so sick.
Yeah.
I had to perform very sick. And I was just like, I just want to be home. I was away from Zach for 2 weeks,
Hmm.
and I was just like sick of it. But even then, like, man, I would have died to do that a year, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Or wouldn't have even ever thought. So just like those reminders, and kind of another thing that was big for me this year. I was on medication for a while for my depression and my anxiety. I thought I was gonna be on medication forever. I really did. I got on medication and I was at a very dark place, and of course, when you're in a dark place, it kind of feels like it will never end.
Hmm.
Um, but I went off about 6 months ago, and that it's not a like victory in the sense of like I did it. Like I everybody's journey with medication is different. I'm a big believer in like if you need medicine to help you, like it saved my life. I really do think
Hmm.
it did. But life like kind of mellowed out for me, and like my depression really has gotten better. It's still there. It still pops up, but like I was like I think I can I think it's time, and for I've been pretty good without it. At least able to manage it well, because that's what it always helps me manage. It's not like I was never sad, but it helped me to manage my sadness. And so the victory in that was like, God really can heal us. um, and time really can heal us. And like, I used to just think I would always suffer from that, and that would just always be a massive part of my story. And it's definitely still there. But the fact that like this year it's very much not been the front runner of my life, whereas it kind of has for every other
Yeah.
year for a while, is just like, oh, like,
Thank God.
yeah,
That's great.
really awesome. And even if I need to go back on them in the future, like this still like it's just been I feel like a big theme for me this year is like God wants me to be happy too. Which might seem silly for some, but for me I took a lot of identity in my suffering that started off as a good thing of like, oh yeah, like God is in suffering and do this for the Lord, offer it up. But it was kind of a little too much
Yeah.
where it got to a point where I was like, I was born to suffer.
And I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just like I accept this life is nothing but a cross, but God has just shown me like he wants me to be happy too. And there's good times and there's bad times, but there's a lot of joy in life. And it's not just about getting through one suffering to the next, but like being really present in the moment of joys too.
Yeah.
Which has just been very healing for me based on my own personal like wounds and crosses. So to be able to look back and be like, I had a great year is really awesome.
Yeah.
And I just didn't really think that would ever happen for
That's
me.
beautiful.
So it's cool.
Yeah.
Not that there weren't hard moments, but like the things that stand out to me are the good things. And it's not just because I got married. It's like I had a good year in general, very happy year.
Yeah.
Overall.
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
With the podcast, we did a couple special things. We had that we went to Camp Odiaqua and did a live episode.
That was this year too. That feels like
That
5
was
years
I
ago.
think that was this year.
I think you're right.
I was looking at the pictures.
Live from Camp Odiaqua.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah,
We
so
did.
that was in January. But so with doing that live episode, that was like we had never done this in front of other people.
Yeah.
And so that was like intimidating, but it was really cool to have done it, and then to do our 100th episode at Leonardo's with Matt Frad and the Jeopardy game and all that stuff. Like that
a lot of people came.
That was so cool. Like just I've liked podcasts and doing this kind of thing for a long time, but we're really doing it.
Yeah, we've like had a podcast for 3.5 years.
Yeah. No, it's really exciting.
I think I don't forget we have a podcast, but it's just like this like whatever thing in my mind, sort of simply because these are like conversations we have normally. Like I don't only see you when we podcast, like you're my good friend. So I think sometimes it's just like, haha, it's just like this fun thing. But it's like, oh no, like people we don't know listen to this.
Yeah.
But what the?
Yeah.
But we also don't like upload it and see the numbers like ever.
Yeah.
Because Father Matthew does all of that. So I think that also makes it's not like I'm like, how many views or listens? I have no idea.
Yeah. It's cool to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And to like consistently, I think we talked about this before, but like I'm so thankful for the chance to have like conversations like this on a regular basis.
Yes.
Because it's challenging to me too.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Happy New Year.
Happy 2023.
Wow.
Who knows what'll happen?
Whoa.
I hope that's
Spooky.
good.
I love on TikTok right now, there's a lot of people doing like celebrity predictions for 2023, and some of them are so funny. Like just this person will get involved in a scandal, or like that's not a good example, but there's funny like just things like random things like Kanye West will date this person, and then but one person did a duet from the one she did last year, and like a couple of them happened.
Oh gosh.
I was like,
yeah.
what?
What's your predictions?
My
for
predictions
this new year.
I know, I'm sorry.
Matthew, you can do with that what you want.
I think I want you to leave that in, Father Matthew, and just bleep it out, and then have him just be like, "Don't say that," and then people
Make
can
the people guess.
I think that would be fun, Anyway, ha ha ha, you'll never know what I said. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't have any. I'm
Who
just
knows?
ready for a chill year to just I feel now I'm gonna like have
There's
some
no
great
chill. There's
tragedy
no
happen.
chill years, Molly.
It's gonna be a good year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We're gonna go to I'm gonna see Taylor Swift in 2023, so
That's already one good thing.
that's it. I need nothing, and then I'll die because that's pinnacle.
Wow.
No, it'll be a good year because you can make it a good year. Not we can make not in the sense of like no bad things will
Yeah.
happen, but we always get to choose what to do with those things, you know?
Yeah. I think that's important. Like, I don't do New Year's resolutions.
Me neither.
Um, just
It's not good for me.
yeah, but just I like the idea of New Year's in terms of like, okay, maybe this doesn't really mean anything, but I can look at it with fresh eyes,
Yeah.
and it's not like all our problems go away or difficulties, but you can kind of like, okay, take a breath.
Take
With
a
God,
break.
I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna start new.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I cut all my hair off.
that was a big change
Yep.
in 2022.
That's the
This
biggest
week,
change. Yesterday. Yeah, I guess it was
was it
yesterday.
yesterday?
Yeah. It was. But I was nervous that it looks like you can't really tell, but then uh
It ends there.
it's very short. I've like have a bob, kind of. Not a bob. A lob they call it. A
A
long
lob.
bob.
That's funny.
But anyway, you cut your hair all the time.
I cut all my hair all the time.
All But anyway.
I know it's not as dramatic as that, but it's really satisfying to cut my own hair.
Yeah, I mean I was just ready for
Mhm.
cuz I always did it after breakups.
Uh-huh.
I would always alter my physical appearance drastically after a breakup. It was healthy for me. You can say all you want about it. But it was very like I got
So, a
my nose.
piercing, yeah.
Yeah, I got my nose ring almost 4 years ago. It's always been very empowering for me.
No
But
more
then I was
breakups
like, I'm never going to go through a breakup again. So now it's like I'm going to mark important things in my life
with a
in the
haircut.
same way. So like I got married. I'm going to turn around and make it a good thing. I got married. Chop my hair off.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad it's for like good things now.
That's great. Yeah, for sure.
But it was a good way to like find some joy in a breakup, you know. That's my biggest breakup advice. Alter your physical appearance after a breakup. Anyway,
Yeah.
how's God loved you lately?
I've heard a lot of confessions this
Yeah.
week, including like last night till 11 o'clock.
Yep.
And
He was supposed to come over and we were like, where is he?
I was really, I was like, this is not possible.
Yeah.
And in the moments, I don't always like appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
Like I was tired, was coughing,
Yeah.
and people just kept coming. But at some point after, I'm always like, wow, like this is a incredible privilege, and
Mhm.
just the fact that I can be there for people is a big deal. I'm
Yeah.
thankful for it.
Yeah. Super awesome.
How about you? How's God loved you?
For me, last night was really great. We had Father Michael and Father Josh over. I feel like we had some good, meaningful conversation throughout. About like serious things. So it's just nice to have friends who I like this kind of what I was talking about earlier, who like both my husband and I are friends with, which is nice. Even though like I knew you before I was even with Zach, he's become your friend
Mm-hmm.
too. And like Father Josh, we were almost married by the time we met him. So, and just getting to share in friendship, and like I. I need to be careful about how I say this next thing. No, this is fine. No, it's okay. But I'll tell you after. I just never know who's gonna see this.
Yeah.
But so now what do I say then? It's nice to be in a relationship where like it's not just like I don't have to be stuck to Zach's side.
Mm.
Or like he can talk to one person, I could talk to the other, and like it's not just like like to not have a person who's not overly attached to me and someone I'm not overly attached to, but to have the security of that's like, oh, we go love our friends, together. But also it was just like a nice night, and I'm grateful that we
Yeah.
have you two as friends, and we live a minute down the road. It's like awesome. We've been having them over a lot for Zach's Cocktails. He makes very good margaritas. If anyone wants to stop by.
If anybody wants to stop by,
no.
Throw the address on the screen in the show notes.
Here it is, the address. But yeah, it was just a nice little time.
Informal.
Yes, and I crashed right after because we was very late. I went to bed after midnight for the first time in a while.
It's Christmas break.
Christmas break. Uh-oh. I can't do this. Remember when we'd stay up till like 3 a.m? We were both in that season of life.
I'm glad that's that's not a thing.
I did it all. I did it every day. I did 3 or 4 every day. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yep. We grow up, we live and we learn, and here we are.
Just gotta sleep.
Make
that a resolution this year, everybody. Sleep.
Get your sleep schedule under control, man. You're a mess. Your life will improve largely.
It does, yeah.
If you go to bed early. And like we go to bed between 10:30 and 11:30 every night. That's not wildly early. I'm not. Some people are 9 o'clock, they're out. I'm not one of those people. I'm a night owl. And then we wake up earlier. I've been slacking recently. In theory, we wake up at 5:15. But it's still been like 6:15 for me.
Yeah, that's still early.
And it just it has helped my emotional state. My days are better. It's just a good thing to do. I really recommend it. If you take care of yourself physically, everything else will fall into place more so than if you don't.
This has been life. That mic won't drop. This has been life tips. Life tips from Molly Stevie.
Anyway, bye.
See you soon. Happy 2023.